Do you like wrestling? Do you ever watch wrestling?
No. Nope.
And The Rock said, whoa, 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 whoa. Because I'm still standing here, custom made, brother. Woo! And I mean custom made, from the alligators to the Ole Cassini right here. Ric Flair, there's only one.
We're not the kind of guys that say, we told you so, but we told you so.
Yeah, no thank you from the Young Bucks.
Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman.
You know who I am.
What's up, gang? Welcome to Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman, the podcast that breaks down the biggest stories in and out of the ring. My name is Mike Wellman. Welcome to the show. Thank you for hitting that play button. We appreciate you here, as always. This is episode 56 of Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman, for those keeping track. On this episode, we are going to talk about some Hall of Fame news. Rey Mysterio, the great Muta, going into the Hall of Fame this year. Also, we're going to talk about the return of Bad Bunny and WWE's return to Puerto Rico. Also, the Bella Twins are no longer the Bella Twins. And Forbidden Door is going to Toronto this year. So we're going to talk about all of that. Plus, AEW Dynamite was in Winnipeg this week. Trios titles were on the line. The international title was on the line. And the TBS title was on the line. And we had an interesting debut after that match. So we're going to break down all of that. Plus, what's next for MJF? Spoiler, it's the Four Pillars, finally. And also, the WrestleMania card is shaping up. We're going to break down all the announced matches so far for WrestleMania and what is likely going to be a father, hopefully, smacking his son this year at WrestleMania. And, yes, we're also going to talk about some Bray Wyatt rumors, because I haven't seen Bray Wyatt or Uncle Howdy on TV in quite a while. So, but yes. And, of course, I am joined by the man they call Wrestling Fan Kris, a.k.a. the Notorious KRS. What's up, Kris?
What's going on? Good to be here. Good to be back in the North.
Yes.
Just want to let everyone know out there that people in Memphis, Tennessee still love Gordon Soley.
They love Gordon Soley?
I was at a hotel lobby bar at the famous Peabody Hotel, and there was a group of 6 gentlemen behind me talking about how much they love Gordon Soley. It's pretty weird.
Wow. Did they say anything about Bob Caudle?
I wasn't that close to them. I should have jumped in and started talking to them about Bob Caudle.
What about Ron Trongard? Any mentions? No?
Not that I heard of, but I'm sure he was there.
You know, when you're when you're just in the southern part of the United States, it's just at hotel bars, you just have to talk about old wrestling announcers. So
I mean, it wasn't even in like Greensboro or like Atlanta. I'm like in Memphis. What's going on here? But hey, it's a deep tradition.
But yes. So, we're going to get to this Hall of Fame news. Rey Mysterio, the great Muta. You can just call that a Hall of Fame class, and it's probably the best Hall of Fame class ever. But, like I said, we're going to talk about that in a minute. But before we go any farther, that's right. We need you to be kind, subscribe, watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman. You already know where you can find this podcast, because you already found this podcast. Whether it was on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible, Amazon, Stitcher, wherever, you already know. If you're watching the YouTube version, hello. Hit like and subscribe. Be kind, like and subscribe. Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman, and we won't have any problems. And you can also follow us on Twitter at WWrestlingPod, firing off the occasional tweets worthy of your likes as well. At Watch Wrestling Pod on Facebook and YouTube, Watch Wrestling Pod. Like I said, if you're watching the video version, hit like. And consider supporting the podcast that breaks down the biggest stories in and out of the ring on our Patreon. We have some new Patreon tiers up for you guys to check out. like I said, consider supporting us on Patreon. Choose a tier that fits. We have the Foundation tier. We have the Click tier. We have the Gang Affiliated tier. So get Gang Affiliated. Get your debit card Gang Affiliated. So we don't have to do it for you. But yes, we appreciate you as always. Thank you for hitting that play button. And yeah, let's get right into it. So let's get into some news stuff first here. So it was announced last week that Rey Mysterio and the Great Muta are going into the WWE Hall of Fame this year. Dave Meltzer mentioned that Rey Mysterio might be getting inducted by Conan. So WWE announced this one on SmackDown last Friday night. Rey Mysterio will be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Rey Mysterio, real name Oscar Gutierrez, began his wrestling career in Mexico before joining ECW, then very quickly going to WCW, and then ultimately going to WWE in 2002, where he basically had a Hall of Fame career in and of itself from that point on. Also, the Great Muta, what can you say about the Great Muta? Didn't have a match in WWE or WWF, but just a legend, pioneer, innovator. Like I said, these guys could be the best Hall of Fame class, just the two of them. So Hall of Fame this year is going down at the Crypto.com Arena in Los Angeles after SmackDown on Friday, March 31st. So then, some news I had to plug into the show, folks. WWE is heading to Puerto Rico for Backlash, and the host is Bad Bunny. That's right, Bad Bunny returning to WWE. So they announced last week that Bad Bunny will host Backlash Saturday, May 6th, live from the Coliseo de Puerto Rico, Jose Miguel Aguilar in San Juan, Puerto Rico. It's a mouthful. So this will be the first pay-per-view premium live event from WWE on the island of Puerto Rico since New Year's Revolution took place back in 2005. Do you remember that event off the top of your head, Kris?
I do not.
Yeah.
I remember the name, but I don't remember anything that happened on it.
Yep, so definitely had to include some Bad Bunny news. So we will see Bad Bunny again. Do you think he's going to have a match, Kris, or just host?
I don't think he'll have a match, but he's going to get involved in something and do something cool.
Hopefully we see another Bunny Destroyer.
That's what I think is going to happen, absolutely.
And AEW is also leaving the continental U.S. here. They're not leaving the continent, but they're leaving the U.S. AEW is going to Toronto for Forbidden Door on June 25th. They announced this one this week. They're actually doing a whole tour of Canada after that, where they're doing just a whole bunch of shows the following week in Canada, but it all starts with Forbidden Door on June 25th. I checked, for us, it would only be about a nine-hour drive if we wanted to go.
Man, I just got a passport, too.
Oh, yeah? I've had a passport for a while.
Shit. Depending on how much tickets cost, goddamn, maybe.
They're probably going to be pretty expensive.
Yeah.
But yes.
9 hours is a tough trip, too, but I would love to see Okada or Tanahashi live.
Yeah, for sure. It would be worth it for Okada.
Absolutely.
All right, what else we got here? Yes, the Bella Twins are no longer the Bella Twins, folks. They will now be known as the Garcia Twins. So this news came from Variety, who reported the news after Nikki and Brie announced that they are no longer under contract with WWE and will go by the names Nikki Garcia and Brie Garcia. They announced this on their Sirius XM podcast, The Nikki and Brie Show. Thankfully, it wasn't called The Bella Show.
Yeah, right.
The Nikki and Brie Show now. So this is a quote here from Nikki Garcia. She says, "When our contract came up for renewal with WWE, mutually we all knew we just need to head into this new chapter." She said that the twins are so grateful for their time with WWE and their Bella Twins personae. Plural of personas.
Okay.
"I have learned so much in and out of the ring. I have traveled all over the world. I have an incredible fandom." Brie commented, "I'm so excited to close the chapter on Brie Bella and put that book to the side and see what Brie Garcia is going to do next." Well, we'll see what the Garcia twins do next. We'll see if
Good
they end
for
up
them.
in AEW.
I don't think they're gonna. I think they're done with wrestling. I think they have their own brand now, and I don't blame them for trying to move on. It's not like a bad thing. They're just trying to do something else. They're not going to be coming back for WrestleManias. They're just going to do their own thing.
So are you saying that AEW can look but they can't touch?
Very good. Wow. That's why you're the host. You're a pro.
No, that's Britt Baker dropped that one on Dynamite. She said you can look but you can't touch. Speaking of Dynamite, let's get into this week's Dynamite. So this was actually a really good episode of Dynamite, I thought. AEW was in Winnipeg for this one. A couple people from AEW from Winnipeg, I think. A couple of the undercard guys, maybe. I don't know.
Young Bucks. I was going to say Young Bucks, but not the Young Bucks. So that wouldn't have worked.
A couple of Young Bucks. No, yeah. A couple guys in there on the roster. It escapes me who's from Winnipeg or wherever they were, but anyway, moving on. Winnipeg. So this one started off with MJF's Re-Bar Mitzvah. This was great. This was just a great segment overall for all the guys involved, but just every part of this was awesome. MJF comes out for a bar mitzvah segment, right? But he's the world champion, so it's like he's got these chicks with him. He makes out with one of them before he gets in the ring. He's got this awesome suit on that I thought was just great. He just really embodied the spirit of a kid at their bar mitzvah, but it was also MJF, you know?
Absolutely. That's why he's one of the top performers around.
So then he gets interrupted right away by Jungle Boy Jack Perry, who comes out. Serious boy now. He's not here to wave along with the crowd or anything. He's all business.
Serious boy.
So he comes out, doesn't really get anything out, and then Sammy Guevara is next to come out to the ring, and the commentary team notes that Sammy is in the main event later on in the Trios Championship match, so just noting that he's in two segments because they just don't ever do that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Sammy Guevara comes out. He gets almost nothing out, and then Darby Allin returns and comes out to the ring. So, like I said, this segment was great for all the guys involved. I think this was like a good sort of reset segment for all these guys because, for one, now we know what they're all going to do next, right? Which is have some type of four-way match or some type of series of matches for the AEW Championship, which is awesome.
Absolutely.
And it was good. It was almost like catching up with the four pillars. Like, what have the four pillars been up to since AEW started? Because they kind of went through everything, you know? Jungle Boy talked about how he had to spend the whole pandemic wrestling on AEW Dark. And Sammy said that he was going to turn this into a recircumcision.
Nice.
And I mean, the final burial match, I thought that was the final burial because in the end here, MJF called him Sammy. I'm going to propose to another chick in 7 months, Guevara. Talk about a burial. That's what Taz said. Taz goes, talk about stiff.
Well, that's our boy Taz.
But yeah, no. So Darby Allin gets on the mic, and he basically cut one of the best promos of his career, I thought, and
absolutely
also the best one in this promo was Darby. He kind of gives you the whole story about how when he was in film school, he didn't want to change anything, and then he was in wrestling school, and then he came to AEW, and he said he started wrestling. He was either going to make it as Darby Allin or he was going to fail as Darby Allin, but he wasn't going to change anything. And yeah, here he is. The only thing he's changed is his budget of just destroying things. It's gone up.
And I mean, if you had looked at him, that's probably his number one goal.
I mean,
he already achieved that.
He's jumping into tractor trailers in a Jeep Cherokee. You know, you couldn't do that when you were living in the, Planet Fitness bathroom or whatever.
No.
When you're cooking up George Foreman burgers in the bathroom of the gym. He's moved up in the world, that Darby Allin. But yes, no, this was a great promo from Darby, and I like how each one of these guys basically said, here's why I deserve to be AEW champion, right? It's like, here's why they're each annoyed with MJF, and MJF, it's almost like these guys were in a class together, and they've all gone their separate ways, and now they've come back, and MJF is the one with the championship, and they've all got their reason to dislike him in particular, as if he's the one out of all of them that kind of made it to the top so far, which MJF noted when he said, I'm the only pillar that can hold this place up. Thank you very much. Wow.
Great line.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's like, well, but so I thought Darby was the most compelling here as far as who should get a shot. I think ultimately it'll be a four-way match, but I don't know. Do you think they're going to basically push this one out all the way until Double or Nothing in May for like the main event, or do you think they would do this on a Dynamite before that?
No, something's going to happen at Double or at the pay-per-view. I don't think it's going to be a four-way, though. I don't know. It seems like it's going to be too hard to push that all the way back. I mean, I guess MJF could do it, and I guess Darby Allin could do it now. Who knew he could talk like that? But they could kind of push it, but I don't know. I feel like Darby needs to win because he came off so good, and I don't want him to lose and get thrown back down. But I also don't want MJF to lose a title yet, so I'm a little bit worried about what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's what makes it interesting. I do think that out of all these guys, Darby, should be the next champion, right? If they're going to go with one of the four pillars to beat MJF.
Yeah, like Jack Perry is not there yet. I like him. He's always been a talented guy in the ring, and hopefully he can get over this serious boy, like you called him, which I love, act over, because he's going to get in the ring, so I like that he's moving towards that. And Sammy Guevara, I know we've talked on this show many times about how good he is in the ring. It's just, I would love for Sammy to move away from all of these factions. I want just Sammy to be himself. I feel like, he's in the Jericho Appreciation Society. I know he's a big, important person, but he's still that's another person's group. That's Jericho's group. I feel like Sammy would be feel more important if he was by himself.
Yeah, and Sammy mentioned that. He mentioned that when he made it to AEW, he was just supposed to be Jericho's bump guy. And he's obviously done a lot more than that. So I'm a huge Sammy Guevara fan. And yeah, Darby looked the best, I thought, but Sammy Guevara looked good in this promo as well, in this segment.
Yeah. Yeah, I buy him as a champ too, I think. So, but I don't know what they're going to do. Is it going to be... It is interesting, though. At least it's not one of those questions that we have in wrestling sometimes where it's just all thrown at us and we know exactly what's going to happen. We know the outcome. We know where it's leading. At least this is kind of like, oh, is it going to be a four-way? Is it going to be a series of matches? How is it going to build? So it actually is very intriguing. So kudos to that. Honestly, everything that has happened with MJF since he became the champ has been well done. And I've been excited for everything. I had no idea where everything was going. So this is good. Yeah.
So MJF at one point takes his sunglasses off. And one thing I liked was that MJF comes in here and he's pulling off the bar mitzvah boy act perfectly, right? He talks about his real bar mitzvah, about how he lost his V card at his bar mitzvah. And then he's wearing this goofy like Kangol Burberry hat, and it's just, once he puts the hat on, he looks like the least serious one. Like all these guys come out and they're angry and they're here with a chip on their shoulder, and it's like he's at his birthday, he's wearing a stupid birthday hat. It's just like he's the least serious one, and he has to like tell everybody else why he's the most important, But they all came off great, and especially this part with Darby where he goes on to talk about how he... First of all, at the beginning, he kind of called it when he said, Darby Allin saying in the beginning of his promo, hold your applause till the end, please.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, what do we got here? So he goes on about how people in the back cry, and they say they want to get out of their contract when they don't get the match they want, or when they don't get what they want to sit at home and cry, including Max, the champion, which I thought was great. So it was the first of several mentions on this show of... the company, AEW. We had Darby Allin saying he's sick of all the grown men wrestlers in the back. He's talking about backstage stuff. And then later on, we had Malachi Black talking about backstage. He says, there's a cancer or a poison in this company. And then what else did we have? We had like the Outcasts talking about this company. It wouldn't be a division if it wasn't for us. Everybody's talking about the company now. which is interesting. But in the opening segment, I thought it worked for Darby because he is able to call out MJF because that's exactly what MJF did last year around Double or Nothing, allegedly. You know?
Absolutely. And Darby's been here since the beginning, and he's always been a pillar, so he can say that kind of stuff. Believably.
Yeah. So all in all, I love this segment. I like that they're bringing these guys together. It's the 4 pillars, man. Come on. So this was great. Then we had another thing that I thought was good, a trios match with this heel group, the BCC. They're heels now. And Evil Uno is a good guy. And Stu Grayson was back for one night only. So this was a good match overall. I mean, like I said, they brought back Stu Grayson. You got the Super Smash Brother reunion here. Player Uno, Player Dos in the building. Like I said, for one night only, presumably. But yes, teaming with Hangman Page to take on this evil trio of Claudio, Wheeler, and John, the Jerks. They are. They're like bullies now all of a sudden, right?
Yeah, they are.
I mean, it's good. They're good heels. They make a good heel team because they just want to beat people up.
Yeah, I think it makes a little more sense that they're heels like that because I've always kind of wanted to beat everyone up, and they kind of carry themselves that way. So just lean into it a little more. It's good. And I mean, if you're gonna go a trios match, I like it. Like these 3 teams, I buy even Stu Grayson and Evil Uno with Hangman because of the Dark Order stuff. So. It's good. I mean, yeah, it was good.
Well, I mean, I think we saw at the end of the show what they're moving towards with the trios.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that. Yes, this was a good match. Yep. Like I said, Stu Grayson back on the team for the night. Who knows? Maybe they'll re-sign him. Probably not. But
yeah, probably not. Yeah.
Yes, and then we had Jade Cargill coming out for defense number 66, whatever it was, 47, 55, 120. Year number 4 of this, it seems. No, it's fine. But yes, Jade Cargill wins in a squash match against Nicole Matthews, an indie wrestler from Canada. And then she tries to actually attack Renee Paquette in Canada. That is...
heel 101 right there.
That's a damn heel move.
Yeah.
Now, I thought Jade is getting better here. I don't know that these 1 second long matches are going to kind of bridge the gap that needs to be bridged, you know, with Jade. It's not the entrance that needs work, you know. So she had a very quick match. Then she tries to beat up Canada's own Renee. That drew some heat from the crowd naturally. Then she gets interrupted by La Huera Loca. Guess who's back around? Guess who's got the keys? Viva La Huera Loca. Taya Valkyrie is all elite. What'd you think of this?
Love it. I'm so excited to see her do her thing on more of a big stage. So, and I think she's going to have to be the one to dethrone Jade. And I think that title gets, even though Jade's, I like a win streak and Jade's fine. But if she beats her, if Taya beats her, that belt gets elevated. There's so much stuff you can do with it. Yeah,
I thought Taya looked great coming out. Yeah, no, she stood right up to Jade. I thought it was great. She got in Jade's face. It seemed like, she wasn't intimidated by Jade and her antics. So, yeah, I would agree. I think that Taya should be the one to dethrone Jade. Not sure if it'll happen, though. But she is signed, so...
I don't know if it'll happen either, but I feel like it's just a win-win. I don't think Jade loses much. And I think if Jade beats Taya, it kind of halts her momentum. So we'll see how it goes. I am looking forward to it, though. And if there's one person, I know you said the crowd wasn't super excited about it. They weren't sitting on their hands, but she'll be in a couple weeks. The crowd will be loving it. She'll be way over.
Yep. Then we got Orange Cassidy and Jeff Jarrett. This was a weird one because Tony Khan came out last week on Dynamite and said that they were changing the name of the All-Atlantic Championship to the International Championship. And it was all because they were so excited about the release of Shazam! Fury of the Gods.
Well, yeah.
Okay. So it's just like the match itself was good, but just the whole intro thing to me was interesting, and they considered this doing something big for the premiere, the release of Shazam Fury of the Gods, which I want to see. I actually want to see it more now that a few reviews have come out and people said it's actually good. You know? So, but it's just like Tony Khan comes on the screen last week and he's like, we are so excited for the release of Shazam Fury of the Gods that we want to do something big. Change the name and only the name of this belt, and that's it. And it's not even very much different of a name. And it has absolutely nothing to do with the movie Shazam Fury of the Gods whatsoever.
Yeah, if it was called like the Fury of the Gods Cup or something, all right, but nothing.
Yeah, I mean, they could have said, we are so excited about the release of Shazam Fury of the Gods that we are changing the name of this championship to the Fury of the Gods Championship.
Maybe the Shazampionship? There you go.
I mean, they could have had Zachary Levi come out in the Shazam gear, in the Shazam costume, stand in the middle of the ring, and he says, Shazam! And then the belt disappears and the new one appears.
Oh, that'd be fun. That would have been fun.
Just come out in general. They could have had the cast of
Should've wrote it
Shazam.
down.
They could have even had the damn best friends come out dressed as the Shazam superheroes and said, and Danhausen could have been one of them.
Oh, that would have been
The
awesome.
little matching lightning bolts, Shazam costumes. No, I actually know that Chuck Taylor was like not available for Dynamite because he had like tooth surgery or something. But yeah, I just mean they could have done more any way you look at it. You changed the name of the All Atlantic Championship to the International Championship. Okay, well, thanks for letting us know. But this was a miss for me completely. This is not like a big deal. This was a minor correction, if you ask me. So
Yeah, nothing too big. I mean, will like to say though that Jeff Jarrett has, since Ric Flair's last match and the build to that, the guy has just been like one of my favorites. I never really liked him. I thought he was too much in WCW, way too much in TNA. I never really got what people liked him, but like this like Jeff Jarrett renaissance is making me very happy.
Well, so Orange Cassidy comes out for the match, and to make it official, he takes the All Atlantic Championship out of his backpack and puts in the International Championship, thus making him now the first ever AEW International Champion. So I tweeted out during this match, I said, we are so excited for Shazam Fury of the Gods that we're going to put a title on Jeff Jarrett. Because that's what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah, right. Oh man.
Now, the thing I'll put up with Jeff Jarrett here, and I wouldn't say I'm coming around on Jeff Jarrett because when he first showed up on the scene in AEW, had the same groan that a lot of people had. First, I was not sold on Jeff Jarrett being like a major on-screen character and wrestler in AEW, but this easily was his best match, in AEW against Orange Cassidy here. Good match, and I guess the aspect of this like super, super late stage Jeff Jarrett that I can appreciate is the guy who's clearly old and he's clearly clinging to relevance, but he's trying very hard to do that, Like, he's trying to work in all of his Jeff Jarrett moves in like 8 minutes, He's doing the strut. He's trying to do the stroke. He's getting the guitar. I mean, he's generally still hitting people with the guitar, but not every time, He's like last night he didn't get the guitar shot in. So I appreciate that he's like an old man who's like hustling to stay relevant at this point, And that's actually become kind of his character.
Yeah, that I didn't know exactly in those words, but yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Oh, my thing just went off. Hang on. All right. Yeah, no, it's just he's so like he's like in this weird better shape than he was like 8 years ago, And it's like I said, it's just obvious that he's trying very hard, which that part is appreciated, I guess. You know?
Yeah.
And also, I just appreciate that he hasn't actually won any of these championship matches that he's had quite a few of so far.
I was just gonna say everything I just said about him is only good because he is not winning these matches.
Yeah. But yes, it was definitely, like I said, his best match so far in AEW against Orange Cassidy here.
Agreed.
So then we got a music video from the Acclaim. They weren't in Winnipeg, but we got a music video from them just showing off how they scissor the fans and take pictures with the fans and basically just letting people know that the Acclaimed are still here and they're still baby faces. Pretty much.
Yeah.
So then we had the Outcasts. First of all, I like the name, the Outcasts. Saraya, Tony Storm, Ruby Soho come out. And yeah, they're like the Outsiders, except they really can't call themselves the Outsiders, can they?
No, and I kind of like this one. I think I talked a little bit of smack about the group coming off of Revolution, but they're growing on me. Tony Storm is like, she carries herself very well in this group. I like her attitude. It kind of sells it for me, so I'm coming around.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. I mean, their job is to get heat. They're supposed to be this heel group, and people are booing them. So I think they're doing their job. And it was funny to me because Saraya comes out. First thing she says is like, "Shut your mouths," when they weren't really being that loud. But it caused the crowd to then boo her more, you know. And then she calls them neckbeard stinky twats. Twats. Stinky neckbeard twats in the crowd.
Stinking, yeah.
The way I might have to bleep that out. The way Saraya says that word is impossible to type. Twats.
But that's that's true. I have no idea how I would do that.
So, and then Tony Storm, she grabs the mic and says, "Shut up, fat people." Which was so bad it was good because it's just like the most generic thing you could say, you know, the fat guy in the third row, you know, like, shut up, fat people. Like, did you guys just each memorize one line to say that was mean and then you come out and you kind of just go from there?
It did kind of sound like that, but you're right. I think it was just hokey enough to be nice, to be good.
Yeah. So they've got a little bit of a way to go as far as, you know, the overall substance here, but calling the fans neckbeard stinky twats is fine with me.
Me too.
So yeah, so we'll see where they go. It's obviously they're going to be taking on presumably the trio of Sky Blue, Rio, and Willow Nightingale. So we'll see where they go with that. But yeah, I thought it was overall the most cohesive showing so far from this group, the Outcasts. And then we finally got some closure on Wardlow's real-life robbery, right? Because Wardlow, after Revolution, after winning the TNT Championship at Revolution from Samoa Joe, he was supposed to defend the TNT Championship just a few days later on Dynamite. And we learned the day before, Tuesday of last week, that Wardlow has been robbed. And I don't just mean of the spotlight, as QT Marshall said by MJF. But no, somebody actually broke into Wardlow's rental car and stole all of his belongings, which included his gear, and probably a lot of other important stuff, but also the TNT Championship. So Wardlow showed up on Dynamite last week, just wearing street clothes, wearing an FTR t-shirt, didn't have the belt. And they had a street fight with Powerhouse Hobbs, which Powerhouse Hobbs won the TNT Championship from Wardlow with the help of QT Marshall, who, I mean, we're going to talk about heel heat. QT never doesn't have heat with people.
That's right.
So then we also got the debut of QTV, which is kind of like a TMZ play on TMZ videos, but also kind of like a reference to GTV as well. So in this one, we found out that we actually got the footage. These criminals actually recorded their actions. And
Good criminal work.
Turns out it was Aaron Solo who broke into the car and stole the TNT championship. Jeez. What a criminal thug, that Aaron Solo.
That's right.
No, I thought this was good because if they want to make QT come off like a real douche, they're doing a good job, right? With the whole, like, he's acting like he's the guy from TMZ, like breaking down the scene, and then they got footage, and they're narrating the story so far, like, well, we know this happened, and we know this guy's gonna. Blah, blah, blah. So, of course, they had to do something with the real life thing that happened, right? So, we'll see where QTV goes from here. I think they're gonna be doing more antics backstage with kind of tongue-in-cheek references to real life stuff. Who knows? Maybe somebody will get ambushed in the back, sucker punched.
As long as there's no like white vans and parking lots where people get abducted by ninjas, I think we'll be okay.
Hey, maybe that'll be on it as well. Maybe there'll be a ninja abduction, or maybe it'll just be like the NXT parking lot where people are just left laying mysteriously all the time.
Yeah, just always, yeah.
So yeah, Aaron Solo is a criminal thug, and we're moving on. What else here? So then we had the main event, the Elite versus the Jericho Appreciation Society, which is Jericho, Sammy Guevara, and Daniel Garcia against the House of Black. So I thought for sure when they announced this match last week that this was going to be the vehicle to get the trios titles onto Jericho in Winnipeg. I just thought for sure. Like, Jericho's calling his shot. He wants a shot at this championship. I would presume he's going to win it.
Yeah.
You know? But no, that is not what happened. They had a great match. We had the Winnipeg, the Sons of Winnipeg, Jericho and Kenny Omega. Oh, that's who's from Winnipeg. Oh, it's Jericho.
Yeah.
Jericho and Kenny Omega. So, of course, Don Callis from Winnipeg. I didn't see Penta or Phoenix in Winnipeg. Maybe I saw Phoenix. No tienes corazón, amigo.
God.
But anyways, he was there to watch the god of pro wrestling, Kenny Omega. Not win the trios titles back. So, yeah, this was a good match. Like I said, I really thought that the Jericho Appreciation Society was going to win. We got some team-up action from Kenny and Jericho. And, the House of Black wins the match. And then some more appreciators of Jericho come out. Namely, Jake Hager comes out and starts beating on people. And it was kind of this chaotic scene that ultimately seemed to involve a already happening brawl between the Blackpool Combat Club. They were just brawling with Silver and Reynolds in the back. That spilled out into the fracas ringside. And then ultimately somehow we ended up with like the Blackpool Combat Club on the outside of the ring. And in the ring, you've got Hangman Page, and backing him up, standing behind him, you have the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. What?
Yes.
Crazy. And I think that they timed it a little bit off because Hangman went to turn to see who it was that was behind him, and then the next show started on TBS.
Come on.
Second or two off. We can only assume what happened when Hangman turned around and saw his former best friends who they started AEW together, the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. Well,
very important.
This was great. This was a great way to end the show. Yeah. Just a great thing to go back to. Hangman and the Elite. I think they've been away long enough with, the story of Kenny and Hangman and everything like that, where they can kind of go back to it now. And, and also just the concept of the Elite feuding with the Blackpool Combat Club. I'm in.
I like it too. I have to get over my hatred for trios matches, though. I don't hate them, but I prefer tag team matches or one-on-one singles competition, but especially if it's a Blackpool Combat Club and the Elite. But I'll get over it. I'm excited for all the wrestlers in the ring, so.
I mean, this is news to me. You hate trios matches?
I don't hate them. It depends who's in the match. Like, I think the House of Black, great as a trio. I just feel like the Elite are better doing other things. They can still be the Elite. I just don't need them through trio.
Wow. I mean,
I'm
why
wrong
didn't you
about
say
it.
this in the job interview to be on this podcast that you didn't like trio matches?
Well, we all lie on resumes. Come on.
I lied on my resume. I said I like trios matches. So, yeah, no, I think that it's just like this episode and AEW seems like to have been going through this like realignment recently where they're kind of, while they are doing this sort of AEW versus originals versus outsiders in multiple stories, it also seems like they're kind of going back to the fundamental group that AEW was founded to kind of showcase, which is like the Elite and the Four Pillars,
Yeah.
Hangman, Moxley, all these guys. And speaking of Moxley, I guess Moxley was, the rumor is that Moxley was upset that he had to cancel his booking in Ireland, I think it was, to go to do the AEW house show. Did you hear about that?
No, I did not.
Yeah,
Why
so
not?
Eddie Kingston is just tweeting up a storm ever since quitting AEW. Eddie Kingston was not happy about being in that ladder match, the Revolution ladder match that happened on Dynamite. He said like, "Oh, come on," when he was announced for that one, which was just hilarious. And then just criticizing your booking on Twitter, always appreciated. Then he quits AEW. If you've been watching Ring of Honor, that's where he has ended up. Eddie Kingston going to be going after Claudio in the Ring of Honor title, which I hope he wins.
Me too.
But yeah, he's been gone, and he said he was tweeting out some criticism of Dynamite, and then he said, like, gotta go get on the plane to go to the OTT wrestling show. Because he was still allowed to get on the plane and go. He didn't have to go to the house show, apparently. So you have Eddie Kingston tweeting out his frustrations, tweeting that he's going to another show, which Moxley was not allowed to go to because he had to do the house show. Can you imagine if you're John Moxley and they're telling you you can't do those bookings because you got to do a house show? It's like PTSD.
I know.
It's like, isn't this exactly the opposite of what Moxley signed up for?
Oh yeah.
But at the same time, it's not like one every week, They want to have a house show business, and they want it to draw good crowds. So.
Yeah, I understand on their part, but I get why Moxley would be mad. Like you said, he had to do a lot of this stuff before.
Oh, yeah, so that was Dynamite. Like I said, good episode of Dynamite. I really like this sort of. Now we know where basically everybody's going, right? MJF has this whole list of challengers now. We don't have to worry, is MJF, are they going to go back to Moxley? Are they going to do Hangman? Like, we know MJF's contemporaries in the Four Pillars of AEW are next in line in some way, shape, or fashion for AEW championship matches. So. All right, so you want to get to some of this, the rumor mill, which has been working day and night here, it seems, in the past few weeks as we get closer and closer to WrestleMania. So let's talk about this Bray Wyatt business first. So I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but Bray Wyatt just has not been on our televisions in several weeks. And Sean Ross Sapp had reported that he reached out to WWE and they told him that it was basically a health issue, keeping Wyatt on the sidelines. He said that they shot down the rumor that it was anything related to creative, but that was the rumor, was that perhaps Bray Wyatt disappeared because he disapproved of some creative. Maybe he wasn't digging creative, brother. What do you think?
You think he has a paragraph 11? subparagraph E, section 11,
Do
whatever.
do you think maybe they wanted him to show up to the building? But yes, so we haven't seen Bray Wyatt in several weeks. That part is true. And Bobby Lashley tweeting out pictures of himself saying that he's going to WrestleMania no matter who he has to face. So who knows what's going to happen with that, but it is interesting that one of the biggest, presumably one of the main WrestleMania storylines has just completely dipped off of our screen.
I mean, I think we're both on this page. When Bray was first coming back, it was awesome, but like, man, I gotta tell you, I don't care about him anymore at all. Isn't that bad?
I guess the thing I'd be most curious about is what did he disagree with? Did they, did they try to cut something short? Did they say they're just going to abandon something? But I did find it interesting that the last we saw of Bray Wyatt was the Muscle Man dance was back.
Yeah.
So maybe the Muscle Man had something to do with this.
Oh, it could be. Maybe he's still hurt. Maybe he hates Vince or Vince hates him.
Yeah, I just think it's interesting that the Muscle Man, which ultimately was a critique of Vince McMahon's criticisms of Bray Wyatt for not being enough of a muscle man. I just think that it's interesting that the Muscle Man gag comes back, for the feud with Lashley, but then that's the last we see of Bray.
Do you think? I believe all of these things to be true. He's either hurt or he's upset. But is there anything inside you that thinks this is like all a work?
Well, he could be hurt because words do hurt.
You're right.
Words hurt, my friend. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but Uncle Howdy's leaping elbow drops will still hurt me, even if he's 3 feet away when he lands.
I mean, that's the power of Uncle Howdy.
Yeah. So, yeah, I miss Uncle Howdy. I've grown to appreciate. I like the music. The Uncle Howdy song.
Yeah, that's
entrance.
true.
But, yeah, last we saw Uncle Howdy, he was also attacking Lashley.
Yeah, weird.
But you know who else we haven't seen on TV at all? Alexa Bliss.
I know.
Very weird. She's not on television. She obviously tweeted that she was not on a hiatus when somebody said she was on a hiatus. So
I did hear that. I did hear that she was on a hiatus. I did not know that she confirmed that she was not. I wonder if, that has something to do with Bray being off TV, right? That's the reason why I think a little bit of me thinks that this might be a storyline because she's also off TV. But then again, it could just be because they have nothing for her because Bray's not on TV. I don't know.
Well, they were doing Uncle Howdy segments with her, and then she was gone, and Bray was gone, and Uncle Howdy's gone.
I love Alexa Bliss here. I think she's a great talker. I've liked her since she came into the business. And I also really enjoyed the Uncle Howdy stuff with her. I was very interested in it all the time with the flashing, Firefly and her, kind of snapping into craziness and Uncle Howdy showing up. I was actually into that part. And I don't know if we're ever going to get that now. I don't think they're going to resume that. I just feel like it's over.
Now that we've seen so many months of the Bray Wyatt comeback and we've, gotten to check in week by week to say, ooh, it's interesting. Ooh, it's going a little slow. Ooh, it's going really slow. Okay, They need to do something here. They need to pick it up. And we've gone through that whole thing for months and months and months and months. I just want to know, what would be the season finale here of Bray Wyatt? Because this show has gone on for months and months and months. What were we building toward? And I understand that in wrestling, things change quite often. You're not going to, if you have a season 1 or an upcoming season of the show Stranger Things, they're not going to change the ending of the season halfway through because people are getting bored with the Demogorgon, Yeah. You're in it for the long haul when you're, with these TV shows. So I want to know, from that lens, what was Bray Wyatt building to here? Was it a match against Uncle Howdy? Obviously things got changed and no story is perfectly executed and no story gets executed and plays out the exact way it was pitched, unless it's this Cody and Roman story. But I'm more curious now of where was this thing going? if we're not going to get it, can you just say like, oh yeah, we were going to build to, Uncle Howdy, but then the Fiend was going to come out and it was going to be like this Three Faces of Foley thing, or I just want to know what was going to happen,
Yeah, I agree. We'll have to wait for Bray Wyatt's book in like 20 years.
Yeah, or a shoot interview.
Oh yeah, that too. That's probably more, yeah.
But yeah, so we had some rumors there. Another rumor is that Stone Cold Steve Austin this is the rumor that he was pitched to do a WrestleMania segment of some sort with LA Knight. What do you think of that?
I love it. I love LA Knight, and him and Austin interacting would be great.
I like LA Knight now.
Do you think Austin? I feel like that's a little below Austin, but I don't know.
I mean, to be honest, I feel like it might be the kind of thing that would work because we're only speculating here of that this even happened. But if you were to be in the shoes of Stone Cold Steve Austin and you've already been pitched like some stuff, what was the pitch? Austin versus like, I don't remember this year, but they asked him to have a match apparently, and he said no. So if you don't want to have a full-on match, maybe you want to leave it the way it happened last year. It was good enough. It was great. It was a great comeback. Took that back bump, that flat back bump on the floor, and that's all you need to do. Just, like you don't need to go in there and have a bad match if you're worried about that, if you're worried about injuries, whatever the case is where you don't want to go in there and have another, redemption return match. Well, maybe this is the alternative to that. You've got LA Knight, you've got Stone Cold Steve Austin. Go in there, back and forth for a while. What? Yeah. Yep. What? Yeah. Back and forth. Then a couple beers, a couple stunners. Get out of there. We're good.
You know what? I kind of like it. And I think LA Knight's a guy who could bounce back easily.
Yeah.
So
it's just he's an interesting enough guy, I think, where it would be a very compelling segment.
Yeah, if you're gonna have segments, that'd be if you're gonna force to have segments, we're always gonna have WrestleMania and all these wrestling shows now. Austin and LA Knight, that's pretty good.
Yep. What other kind of rumors are floating around there? Bray Wyatt missing in action. Yeah, well, let's talk about let's move on now and talk about the WrestleMania card, which is shaping up. Folks, we are rolling along down the road to WrestleMania, and the card is coming together. A lot of matches that we thought were going to happen, and a few that are just have certain people's fingerprints all over them, which we'll get to. But yes, overall, Chris, what do you have anything that you're most excited for going into WrestleMania?
Man, I mean, I'm actually very excited for Cody. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to how the match goes, how Roman is, how the fans react. I'm looking forward to, this isn't even advertised yet, but I'm looking forward to the presumed Usos and Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, but I don't even know that's going to happen. But whatever they're all doing, even if it's not a match, I'm looking forward to that. Ray and Dominic. There's a lot of good stuff on here. I'm not really looking forward to... Actually, I'm kind of looking forward to Brock Lesnar. Only because I want to see how he handles a big, giant man. And if he takes bumps. And you can't German suplex that man. So I don't know what the hell's going to happen.
We'll see. Maybe he could get him up for the jackknife powerbomb.
Think you could jackknife Mabel?
Do you think you could F5 Omos?
He probably could do that. That's gonna be crazy. See, if you're gonna have a dumb match like that, but whatever, maybe it'll just come out pretty cool. It could be.
So we've got the main event: Roman Reigns defending the undisputed Universal Championship against Cody Rhodes, who needs to be acknowledged at this point. Kris, wrestling fan Kris, is acknowledging Cody, but yeah. So that one, it's to me, it's very formulaic and it's very forced. It's not bad, I don't think, but it's just when you juxtapose how over Cody is compared to how over Sammy was or is still, there's just no comparison. Sami Zayn is the guy right now, as I've said, but they're just getting that train right back on the track, for Cody, which they are doing a good job of steering the fans, towards Cody without having like a full scale revolt like they did in the Daniel Bryan years, right?
Yeah.
So we've got the main event probably going to be headlining night 2 there, right? Roman and Cody.
Yeah.
You mentioned the Usos likely defending the tag team championship against Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, which I like the build to this so far. I like how they didn't just make it official right away. I mean, who knows? They might not even make it official. Their plans might have changed. That might never have been the plan. It's not official yet. But I like that they didn't just say, well, now we're friends again, and now we're going to take on the Usos. I like how one week you've got Jimmy Uso telling Sami Zayn how he was the one that stood up for him. And then you have the next week, it's like, what's Jey Uso going to do? So then Jey Uso comes out. He hugs Sami Zayn. You have another emotional moment. Then he turns on him again, goes back with the bloodline. And the whole time you've got Kevin Owens, basically holding Sami Zayn accountable for thinking that he was part of the bloodline, that whole time. And he hasn't really fully embraced the idea of partnering with Sami yet. And it's building and building and building, which is great.
It all makes sense. I get all that from everyone's perspective. So that's why it's good.
So then we have, on the women's side, we have Charlotte versus Rhea Ripley, which a little weird with Rhea kind of doing double duty with just being involved in all of the Judgment Day feuds and then having her own feud with Charlotte, But I would say this one, are we still cheering Charlotte at this point? Has it been long enough where we can not do that? Are we still?
I'm not.
Remember she came back and everybody was like, thank you, Charlotte.
Yeah.
For beating Ronda.
That was. I think if Charlotte wins, it's completely done. It's back. She's now Ronda. So hopefully that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I think that this is Rhea's moment. For sure. Hopefully they stick with that one at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not too like this is not the juice here. This one.
No.
Then we also have Bianca Belair defending against Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, apparently. No, I actually don't hate this new Asuka thing. I actually get it. I feel like it is supposed to be some version of the Joker, right? Where she's got the new face paint. Right, which I know is kind of a throwback. But then now she's coming out without the face paint, and she's got like the weird blue liquid in her mouth, and she basically is dressed like Joaquin Phoenix's Joker as well.
I'm actually looking forward to this one much more than Charlotte and Rhea. Just because I like Bianca. I think Asuka versus Bianca just as a wrestling match is going to be good. And then we got all the Asuka story stuff, so that's shaping up to be pretty nice.
Yeah, no, I think it'll definitely be a great match. It could be one of the matches of the whole weekend.
Yeah.
And then I would say that I would still go with Bianca to win. I would say just have Bianca keep beating everyone.
I think that's going to happen too. Yes.
So then we've talked about the likely tag team championship match, the 2 women's championship matches, the main event. You got The Miz as the host. What do you think of this? I'm sure you're ecstatic.
No, it's gonna be fine. Whatever. I'm not. My Miz love runs more when he was Intercontinental Champion, when SmackDown was its own brand, way back when it started. Well, it still is, but when it first came and he was talking shit to everyone and just making everyone feel, just talking crap to everyone. Now he's just back to being Goofy Miz, and it's going to be all goofy, stupid stuff and whatever.
Yeah, the other week on Raw, I thought it was interesting. They had like a backstage segment where it was like The Miz and Baron Corbin and somebody else. I can't remember who it was. But I thought it was interesting. I thought, one way to make Baron Corbin seem interesting, put him on screen with The Miz.
Oh, God.
You want me to like Baron Corbin just a little bit? Just remind me that The Miz exists,
I cannot believe that you like Baron Corbin more than The Miz. I can't.
I didn't know until it happened. They're on screen, and I'm like, oh. And I'm like, oh, Baron Corbin. At least there was a time where I felt like Baron Corbin had some potential in the ring. Like that NXT longer hair, era.
Yeah, he was beating people in like 15 seconds.
He had this attitude, and then they just ruined his character. They made him poor and hungry and desperate, and then rich and happy, and no,
a complete fool when he won the Money in the Bank briefcase.
Yeah, it's just they made him into a complete, uninteresting character here. But yes, like I said, put him on TV with The Miz, and I know everybody loves The Miz because he's so talented and he works so hard. That's good. I just don't want to watch him. I just don't want to watch The Miz. That's all.
I mean, hey. He'll make everyone look better at WrestleMania then.
Yeah, I saw that his buddy there, Mark Long, has a match booked. I think it's against Matt Cardona.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, let's see. Let me see. Yeah, this one's going down at the Boca Raton Championship Wrestling on May 7th. Mark Long versus Matt Cardona. Get ready. Get ready to be staring at the lights, Mark Long.
I hope so.
Get ready to be jobbed out in Boca.
But I will be watching that match whenever I can.
Yes. So, and that one made my computer froze. That's good. Thank you, Mark Long. Shoot, made my computer froze. Uh-oh. All right, so what else is going down at WrestleMania? We just learned that there's going to be a Hell in a Cell match between Edge and a potentially demonic Finn Balor.
Ooh.
So we're finally getting this one. This one's supposed to allegedly have happened at the Royal Rumble. Edge was allegedly filming some TV shows stuff. Couldn't make the shows ahead of time, so we're getting Edge and Finn Balor in a Hell in a Cell. I think this will be good. This is a good thing to add to the WrestleMania show.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that too, yeah.
I especially liked Edge's kind of rationale for it, about how he's got to move on from these guys. He's wasted all this time with the Judgment Day.
Exactly. Beautiful, yeah. That's all it takes sometimes. It's just a little bit, something like that, and it really feels important now.
So, yes, and we'll see if we get the Demon. I think I almost would rather them not do the Demon, regardless of who's going to win,
Me too.
Because last time we saw the Demon, he went up in smoke, and then the top rope fell off.
Yes.
That was just a complete metaphor for WWE storytelling in general at that point, I think. Just the Demon, just the top rope fell off. That's how we decided to beat one of our, most unique and protected characters. The top rope fell off. That's it.
Yep. Perfect storytelling.
And, so if the Demon comes back, and then presumably if Edge were to win, if Edge is done wasting his time with the Judgment Day and he's going to move on to bigger and better things before his retirement, well, then you'd say you'd want him to win, right? So then you're gonna beat the Demon again.
Yeah, you can't do that now.
And then if Finn Balor is scheduled to win, if he's booked to win, which I have to check my notebook. What do we got? Who do we got here? What do we got written down? It's not circled yet. Who's gonna win?
Oh, that phase.
Gotta shred that page. So yeah, we haven't booked that one yet. Apparently, I'll ask Pat Patterson what we should do.
Get to the pool immediately.
So yeah, it's like I said, I'd rather not see the Demon, but I feel like we might. So then,
yeah,
let's talk about this match that has the higher powers fingerprints all over it.
Yes.
So I'm a roller coaster of emotion when it comes to Brock Lesnar versus Omos, because originally it seemed like we were maybe going to get Brock Lesnar versus Bray Wyatt. A lot of people were saying it would have been really awesome if we could get Brock versus Gunther, which
oh yeah,
once you put that idea in people's heads, everything else is inferior, right? So we're getting a colossal tussle, wouldn't you say?
I think we are.
It truly will be a colossal tussle. And there are merits to a matchup like this, but I just want to get to the poo-poo stuff first.
Yes.
So this one, like I said, has Vince McMahon's fingerprints all over it. In a world where Triple H is in charge of creative, you do not have a match like Brock Lesnar and Omos, right?
No.
Because Triple H has already sifted through the roster and prioritized his talented group of people and sort of deprioritized other people who are also very talented. Don't get me wrong. It's just you can tell the people he is going with for these crucial, positions here on the card. And then and Omos didn't really appear to be one of them, And then kind of out of the blue, we just get MVP coming on our TVs saying that Omos is challenging Brock Lesnar. And then ultimately they had a face-off, which is just another reminder to me that Brock Lesnar is just one of the most incontrollable human beings walking the face of the earth.
Yes, he is.
But that's also what makes a lot of this stuff interesting, because this is definitely not a typical Brock Lesnar matchup, I'll say that.
Exactly.
And once you start to think about it, it does become interesting, because Brock is obviously one of the biggest guys out there. He's a one-of-a-kind freak of nature. And Omos is also, the biggest guy in the world. Who is bigger? I know maybe Satnam Singh is taller. I don't know the exact height of the giant Omos, but he is gigantic, and he's so much bigger than everyone else that he has to move so differently, where he's so much bigger than everyone else, where I actually thought for a moment, Brock would, if they had a fight, like an MMA fight or a shoot fight or a street fight, Brock would probably win most of the time, but 9 times out of 10, on that 10th fight, Omos is going to have figured out what to do in a fight against Brock Lesnar to use his size to his advantage. That's what I'm thinking about when I'm looking at these two, right? Is Brock would probably win because he's obviously a superior, an actual fighter.
Yes.
But eventually Omos would figure out how to use his size to just prevent Lesnar from doing anything, right?
I think so.
I mean, at a certain point, right? Brock's not going to be able to use the same strategy on Omos every time.
Yeah.
But so there's the interesting part about it of, well, what can Brock do to Omos in a wrestling match? What can he do to him? I don't know. I'm interested. I'm curious now.
Me too. I know. I didn't think I would be, but I am. Just make it quick. Let's not make this a 10-minute match. I want a good 5-6.
Oh yeah, it's not going to be a long match. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
What can we do here for beyond after 8 minutes? Jesus.
Just give me 8 to 12.
So then the other thing is when you're thinking about the kind of behind the scenes, working this match out, what can these guys really do together? Brock Lesnar is not the guy that writes out the match move by move on his notebook and memorizes it line by line. Okay. So
I don't think it's going to happen, but man, would it be crazy if Omos German suplexes Brock Lesnar once? That would be insane.
Well, what I'm saying is what can Brock do to Omos? Because Omos, to the extent of his abilities, can pick up Brock Lesnar, and presumably, if he knew how to do a German suplex, he could German suplex Brock.
Yeah.
So it seems like Brock is in a position where Omos can manhandle him, but can Brock manhandle Omos? That's what I think is most interesting about this, especially after watching the face-off they had where Omos's fist is as big as Brock's head. It just made me think, for the first time in a long time, Brock isn't, in control by default of the physicality, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
If Omos doesn't want to do something that Brock is doing there, he's not going to do it. Brock can't. This isn't Bob Holly where if he dead weights you can just pick him up and break his neck.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was just going to say that. That ain't happening.
You know what I mean? So it'll be really interesting to see how these guys work together in that regard of it's probably going to be a little clunky, but that's got its own appeal, right? Just especially watching Brock Lesnar just get thrown around in any way.
Oh. And I'm sure Brock could lift up Omos to do the F5, but like Omos is so big. I wonder if Brock could even like extend his arms out wide enough, you know?
Because think about it, Brock doesn't really leave the ground very often, right?
No.
Like, and most of it is because there's no one there. Like, he's got these matches with Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles. I mean, he even had a match with Ricochet that was very quick. Kofi Kingston. He's generally wrestling smaller guys, right?
Yeah.
So people aren't picking up Brock Lesnar very often for like the AA or the Olympic Slam, or like he's not going soaring through the air very often, is what I'm saying. So that, you know, are we going to see that? Are we going to see Brock go flying? Like, is there going to be a choke slam, you know? Because that's what's clunky as well, is when Brock goes flying, he's not exactly Dolph Ziggler just bumping around like crazy.
True.
So it will be interesting to see. And that's what I've gathered all just from that little face-off that they had, was that just the physical matchup here is what's going to be most interesting. And the potential for weird botches as well. Sorry.
You definitely sold me on it.
There we are. The Colossal Tussle, folks. Tune in. Surprised he didn't call it that.
There's still time.
All right. So the other thing that's really got me excited for WrestleMania is the Mysterios. Because at this point, I'm loving this. I hope they're on every episode of Raw and SmackDown. And I hope this goes on every episode. Put them on NXT too. You know, just make it so this father and son, neither one of them can have any peace in their life until WrestleMania, please.
It'd be great.
So it's interesting that they are on both shows, because now more than ever you have guys that are only there once a month, right? Or only on one of the shows. So now you're just, it's like a bombardment of this familial drama with the Mysterios, and it's growing on me for sure. Just everything that Dominic says, and just Rey Mysterio selling it all. You know, the Hall of Famer now, Rey Mysterio. When Dominic says, "I should have been Eddie's son," and Rey is just, you could just see through the mask, he's just like, like he's just like, you know, but he won't hit his son yet, right? Like, he's not there yet. Dominic he's ruined every holiday at the Mysterio residence. He's gotten arrested. He's done hard time, you know?
Yes.
Even though, I mean, he was out of jail within a few days, so I don't know how much prison Dom saw the inside of, but yeah, so now he's this, like, he's really coming into his own as like a heel, but as like this kind of punk kid heel, you know? And
yeah, he really is. I thought he was not great for a long time, but he really has turned into a pretty good heel.
It's great. And he gets a lot of heat from the crowd. I think I said that when he first, like, there was one point, I don't know if it was when he first joined the Judgment Day, but they showed him on camera or something, and it's just like the people went nuts. They hated him. And yeah, he's still a good heel. And Rey Mysterio is just in total, like, dad mode of just like, I won't fight you, son. I won't hit my son. And he's just, it's like he hasn't even considered it yet. We're 3 weeks away from WrestleMania, and in his mind, he's still, every week his son is doing something. He's beating him up and taking his mask, you know, preventing him from competing in the Royal Rumble. And he's just saying he should have been Eddie's son. And he's just, and you know, the best part about this is like bringing up somebody who's passed away, who's no longer with us. You know, if Eddie Guerrero was alive, he would be just like so into this. Like, yeah, I should have been Eddie's son. Like, yes, this would have been great if Eddie was here.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So this wasn't the case of like bringing up somebody who is dead and it's like in bad form or something like that. You know, it's like, it's because they did the whole thing. He's like, I'm your poppy. They did the ladder match when Dominic was a little child. Now he's, you know, prison Dom. So it's like Eddie would have loved this for sure. And it is going well. They're drawing it out. Rey Mysterio has not yet decided to beat his son's ass yet, you know, which I'm sure he will soon in the coming weeks as we get closer.
I mean, you've been calling for that for so long. I'm actually excited to see how the match goes too.
Yeah, I mean, this is how you do it, guys. This is how we do the father versus son, Rey Mysterio versus Dominic Mysterio. They have their match, and then Rey Mysterio wins clean as a sheet. He beats the shit out of his son. Maybe he even grabs his son by the hair and is like, "You'll never beat me," and just throws him down. on the canvas at the end. Like, this is what happens when you try me. I'm Rey Mysterio. Just, that's what you have to do. And then Dominic never gets that win back. That's how you have to book this. Because so often it's, you're the old guy loses to the young guy to set up the future. No, there is no future. Rey Mysterio is one of the greatest of all time. He is a legend. He is a Hall of Famer. He deserves his own wing in the Hall of Fame. He is a pioneer. Half or more of the WWE and AEW roster probably owe their entire style of wrestling. Very few people have been more influential in the wrestling business in the past 30 years than Rey Mysterio. Should not be getting beaten by Dominic Mysterio.
I know.
That's that. Book it. I don't have a click pen today.
Right now.
But yes, that would be hilarious to me. Just Ray wins. That's it. Eventually he retires. Whether or not this is his actual last match, probably not,
Yeah.
But no. Sorry. Rey Mysterio wins in my book. And, no cheating. No like, oh, well, he needs the help with the Judgment Day. No. He tries his father and he comes up short. That's how this has to go.
I feel like there's no way that's happening. But hey,
of course not. But it's better than what's going to happen.
That's right.
So what else is going down at WrestleMania?
Our boy Logan Paul's coming back, right?
Oh, yes. Oh, and we got John Cena as well. So let's talk about Logan Paul. I actually partially enjoyed the little fake FaceTime segment they did a few weeks ago. It was like a weird pre-planned, like pre-taped FaceTime arm. It looked like a Muppet was holding up the phone.
Yeah.
The FaceTime on the phone, and they had Logan Paul like superimposed onto the FaceTime. Like, I wonder, would it have been too hard to just FaceTime Logan Paul? Or maybe did they do that? It didn't look like that's what they did, because Seth Rollins, that camera angle that was allegedly over his shoulder was completely still.
Yeah, that was...
But yes, Logan Paul is being an irritant to Seth Rollins. So yes, we have Logan Paul, Seth Rollins, and then we also have the murderous John Cena, who is out here killing people ahead of WrestleMania. John Cena going to be challenging for the United States Championship against one Austin Theory. And no, this Cena promo that when he came out in Boston last week, he buried Austin Theory. He killed him dead. Walter White style.
He's like pulling out of the Hogan playbook where he just like, he's going to lose the match, but before that, it's all about Cena. He's going to kill you.
Yeah, he's getting over at the end.
Yeah, that's
Even
right.
if you win, he's gonna he'll hand you the belt,
That's right.
and then he'll be the one getting over in the end.
That's right.
Or if you beat him, a month later he'll have the belt.
It's interesting.
So, yeah, John Cena and Austin Theory. This should be a good match. I'm interested in this one. And I'm surprised John Cena came out guns blazing. Is this John Cena or Chris Smith out here?
Yeah. Very good.
He's willing to kill for peace, apparently. But yeah, so that one, we've only gotten one appearance from Cena in the lead up. So we'll see how much more of John Cena we see, if we can see him at all.
Great.
Between now and
Another
WrestleMania.
good point. Yeah.
So yeah, and then who's the Undertaker facing this year?
That's a Father Time.
Is he going up against Vince McMahon?
Old age.
Oh yes, we have Gunther defending the Intercontinental Championship against either Drew McIntyre or Sheamus, which could end up just as a triple threat match here. Gunther. I would love to see Gunther versus Drew. Just let these guys just slap the hell out of each other.
Yeah, that would be pretty good. It's going to be fine, even if it's a three-way or it's just Sheamus. It'll be. I feel like I've seen it before, though. I wish it was a little different, but it'll be good. It'll be a slugfest. I like it.
And then this one, we have a trios match scheduled for WrestleMania. This one presumably came out of nowhere. We have Trish Stratus, Lita, and Becky Lynch taking on Damage Control, which is Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky. So the legends, Lita and Trish Stratus, have been back in the mix on Raw. Lita and Becky are the Women's Tag Team Championship holders. They presumably were kind of penciled in there to take on Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey. Ronda is, wait, are they still the tag team champions?
Yeah, I think so.
Lita and Becky? I was going to say, did they lose those?
No, not yet.
Not as of this recording.
Yes.
So, yeah, we have a 6-women match. I mean, this just must be an awesome, bucket list thing for Becky, for everyone to be in a WrestleMania match with Lita and Trish, right?
Yeah, I like it. I mean, my feelings for about Lita aside, I like it. I like the way they're using the legends, and it'll be a fun match, I think. I love Damage Control, even though they're kind of stale and they really don't do anything. I still love them, so that's cool.
And they really beat up Trish Stratus the other week. Geez, she's only been back for a little while here, and you're already doing backstage beatdowns.
Speaking of rumors, have you heard that rumor that Trish Stratus is going to turn at WrestleMania? That seems weird to me, because is she going to stick around longer? Because a turn for a legend on a one-off seems weird to me, so I don't think that's true.
I mean, it seems weird, if she were to turn and then become a part of Damage Control, or just help them. I mean, what would be the motivation to help them?
You're right. There'd be no motivation, and I don't know. Yeah, so that's why I didn't even want to I shouldn't have brought that up, because it's kind of, that doesn't make sense.
Unless she's just angry at Lita about something from the Attitude Era.
Well, hey.
Holding a grudge that she's keeping to herself.
Could be, and then we're building to Lita and Trish one more time. SummerSlam.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the plans are for either Lita or Trish. If they're planning on coming back for a run, if this is kind of just a WrestleMania return. So I don't really know what the plans would be for either one.
But I mean, either way, they're going to get huge reactions. It's going to be fun to see them at WrestleMania. So
yeah, so I'm sure there'll be some other stuff added. Like we said, we don't have anything for LA Knight officially yet, even though he's been teasing having a LA moment at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And, like I said, still no match for the dead man, The Undertaker. Not sure if he's going to be taking on Triple H, Hulk Hogan, Vince McMahon, maybe
Giant Gonzalez,
maybe William Regal. He's back in the company.
It's true.
Shawn Michaels. Maybe they'll do Taker versus Shawn.
3. Yeah.
Instead of the end of an era, it would just be the end of a life. But yeah, so that's the WrestleMania card. Like I said, I'm definitely looking forward to Ray versus Dominic. Looking forward to Sammy and Kevin, presumably, versus the Usos. Looking forward to the Hell in a Cell match with Edge and Finn Balor, Bianca and Asuka. Looking forward to the circus act that will be Brock versus Omos.
Yeah.
And we'll see if we see Uncle Howdy at WrestleMania this year, which I hope we do.
Me too.
But yeah, so we're still a few weeks away, so we're probably going to do an official WrestleMania preview and prediction show before WrestleMania, and then we'll do a review show. We'll probably do one review show for both nights of WrestleMania. It'll just be a super show, a super pod.
That's good.
And that way we don't have to rush on the Sunday, WrestleMania Sunday, to record a recap of WrestleMania Saturday, which I thought about doing, but it just seems logistically like it wouldn't, the recap wouldn't be able to be published until the Monday anyway, so it just seems we'll just recap all of WrestleMania and everything else that goes on in WWE and AEW with the 4 pillars and the Elite. Haven't seen Parker Boudreaux in a while on AEW.
Very sad.
Yeah. But yes, that about does it for this episode of Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman. Thank you for sticking with us. We appreciate you here. Thank you for sticking with us till the end of the show. Thank you for hitting that play button. If you haven't yet, hit the like button if you're watching the video. be kind, like and subscribe. Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman. And you can also find the podcast that breaks down the biggest stories in and out of the ring on Twitter at W Wrestling Pod. On Facebook, we are Watch Wrestling Pod. As I said, my name is Mike Wellman. For wrestling fan Kris, what does this button do?
I'm not the biggest fan of sports entertainment, but that was pretty entertaining.
There's people in there! There's people in there!
You want to make big money, you got to do big boy shit, you know?
He may need attention.
You underestimate my power.
What's a baby face?
Won't open? Won't open. Not this one. Not this one. None of them open. Somebody hit somebody! Still selling fake doors. We have fake doors like you wouldn't believe. What are you worried about? Come get fake doors. Call us up and order some fake doors. Don't even hesitate.
Watch Wrestling with Mike Wellman. Help me.